Hey guys, this is Elba with Broken Journey, the podcast. On today's episode, we talk about Clubhouse, the app. Oh my God, it is so interesting. I am totally hooked on all the gems that are being given on this app. And the only way for you to join is by being invited. So Evie invited me, and even though she was invited by someone else and her topics that she's looking at is totally different than what I'm interested in, we both truly want to get involved in this clubhouse and create a room. So in this episode, we talk a little bit about that. We talk a little bit about all the things that are going on in Clubhouse. And so I hope that you enjoy this episode. Have a great day. Hi, Evie.
Hi.
Excuse me. Chacho, me ahogo aquí.
But we're doing it the right way this time. I see it.
Oh, I know. I said, let me make sure that we get this done the right way.
How
Hi.
did your training
So,
go?
what was that?
The class, how did it go?
It was good. It was really good. Um, it's a financial budgeting class for me. And so it's helping me with my debt and stuff like that. Pero,
Look at
ya tú
you.
sabes. Yes, 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 yes. My goal is to be able to retire at a decent age.
Good. I love it. Good for you. Good for you. I need you in my life.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
shit.
my God, how funny. So, anyway, for those of you who are listening, we did an episode together about Clubhouse, and the recording never happened. So, we're back at it again. We're at part two of Clubhouse.
And it was good. It was good. It was good. So I don't even know where to start. I mean, this
It was
this app
so on
is
point.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened was, okay, let's just reel back into what happened. So you were on a you were on a in a room, right? Because I gotta remember the terminology of the clubhouse. You were in a room,
Right.
and I just so happened to get into the Clubhouse app and saw you in there, and I got in there. And so they were talking about light work and things like that, and talking about, vibrations and stuff. So I got in and I started talking, and for some reason, what I was saying was not what I was thinking. Like what came out of my mouth really wasn't like I was just like in shock, like why did I even say that? That was not even what I wanted to say. Um what I wanted to say to the person that was, I guess the leader of the room, that, I felt kind of all over the place because I'm with my corporate America job, I'm with my Mary Kay business, and I'm now with this podcast. And I'm like, I feel like I'm stretching myself thin, but that's not what came out my mouth. What came out my mouth was that, what I was feeling
The
was
void. You had a void.
void. I had a void. So I was like, that was not what I was like. I felt like I was like somebody else. I was like, I felt like I
Right.
was somebody else talking there, right? And
Right.
so we kind of piggyback off of that, and we started talking about that. And then, what else we were talking about in
So
Clubhouse?
listen, now that you're talking about that, well, for those of you that are listening, Clubhouse is for me and for a lot of people relatively new. It's an app, it's for free, but it's a waiting list. That's how popular it's been. Now you can invite other people. So if you're already on it, you can join and nominate someone. So this is how a friend of mine recommended me, and here I am. We're with Elba and we're in these rooms, and what it is, you can talk to people around the world if you feel like talking. If you don't want to talk, you just listen, and that's exactly what you do. You click on different rooms, and it's different people around the world with different topics, and there's thousands of rooms going on at the same time. So
Yes.
the interesting thing about that room in that time, And in that space, it's because you felt like you had something, and the individuals on the other side, they have no idea of the magnitude of what you're trying to do, and hopefully one day, accomplish this and accomplish that. So they have no idea.
Right.
When you say void, it's like it's not enough to, and here you are
Right.
multitasking, but it just depends on who is looking at it, right? Like which
Exactly.
lens glasses and all that. And if people don't understand or they don't know the history. No, can we talk about vibrations? Because esta aplicación, the Clubhouse, is only voice, right?
Right. Right.
What I find so interesting, and then you talked about something, you were thinking about it, you were feeling it, and all of a sudden you said, well, it's making me feel like I have a void. It's the word that came out of your mouth,
Wow.
right? It's the word that came out
Yes.
that way. I have understood that languages disrupt communication, and that
Yes.
really the way in which animals and really humans and just beings communicate is really not through languages, it's through vibrations. And there's other kinds
Right.
of multidimensional beings and beings that communicate telepathically, and long and behold,
Right.
now humans have been doing that all along. But
Right.
back to the sound vibrations. It's funny, right? How it's like we have to interpret, the brain has to interpret what we see, the brain has to interpret what we're feeling. If it's a temperature, the brain has to interpret what we're thinking. And then all of a sudden at that moment, it just felt like that's what came out. So what, you
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Like it was a
everybody thinks
void. And I'm like, wait a minute,
that
that was not the word I was trying to say. And then so it kind of like jumped into a whole different thing where it's like, no, you need to meditate. You need to, you know, pray on it, or you need to talk about it. You need to, and I'm like, wait a minute. What
who
I
is she
wanted
talking?
to say, it was like, and now at this moment, like I can't think about what I really wanted to say, because when we spoke on it, it was right. It was like that same day, so it was fresh in the mind. But I'm just like, I was like, oh my god, that Clubhouse um app, it just has so many things in there.
So
Like
many.
I don't know. I was looking. I said, "Oh, let me look and see," because I don't really know how to use the application. So, and thank you for inviting me. And so
You- So
I
you
was
like it,
like,
huh?
oh my god, I'm listening to these. Like I'm into the finance thing and stuff like that. So
Yes, yes.
I was in one of these rooms with millionaires talking about their mindset. They're like, "Do you realize that you need to do this, 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 and that?" They were like, "You need to shift and pivot what you are thinking, because for instance, me, I have my Mary Kay business. I have the podcast now, but my mindset is so structured by corporate America, like the
Yes.
hamster wheel, that is so hard for me to it's so hard for me to shift, right? Shift
Yes.
into
Yes.
entrepreneurship, shift into things that I want to do as an entrepreneur versus
Right.
being in that hamster wheel. And
Right.
I know we started talking about that too, where we're working, and as when you're young, you are taught to finish school, get yourself an education, and go work for corporate America.
Right.
And gonna, well, I am 49. I keep saying I'm gonna be 49, and I already hit 49, y no lo creo. No lo
You're
creo.
still
I'm gonna be. No, ya yo tengo 49 años.
oh,
And
you're funny.
I'm saying to myself, I'm like, Elba, you've been in this game since you were 16 years old. And yes, I've progressed, right? And I've been in this career path, in the financial career path, for more than 30 years, right?
Hmm.
However, I say to myself, ¿en qué vale? ¿Qué vale?
I
Because
know.
I don't see myself as a president of a company all these years working.
Right.
right? Because of course they don't want to, como se dice, they don't they don't want to allow you to grow. Like,
Right.
look at my job now. They
Mhm.
keep
Mhm.
passing me up for promotion.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
However, I got 5 and 4 star reviews on my whatever you call that, my reviews.
Hey, your performance
Yeah,
evaluation.
my performance review. So okay, you giving me these 4 and 5. I'm doing such an excellent job, and da 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 y toda la mierda. ¿Y para qué? You don't want to give
Right.
me the title for a job that I'm already doing?
Right.
Really? So when I'm in this clubhouse and I'm listening to, like I've gone into like 3 or 4 different rooms and I'm listening to just different aspects of things, right? So that one room is the millionaire room, another room is talking about how to shift and pivot your mindset of being
Mhm.
in corporate, and being not corporate America, in running your business,
Right.
right? And I'm just like, oh my, I'm in awe. I'm in awe of
It's
Clubhouse. I'm just like, oh my God,
I
estoy enamorada.
Oh my God. Oh, I am so glad that you feel that way because so my friend that nominated me, she's
Hmm.
also into like this breakfast millionaire club. So she listens to it. It's very inspiring. But
Right,
I'm in a different MO, right? I'm into the energy.
right,
So that doesn't like
right,
kind of resonate as much, but I could see how people can feed off of it. So it's awesome. Cool. All right.
right.
So the beauty about this thing is that you can jump literally from that to
Yep,
let's go into a mini psychic reading and with some
yes,
person that and it's at no charge and we're connecting with people. It is
right,
just phenomenal. And the
yes.
love, girl, the love. And if there's drama in a room, people don't like it. People are like, no, 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 because it's
Ooh,
like it's their room. So the
yeah,
moderators get upset. So it's like you have a sense of ownership in these rooms and
yes.
you say so you can say whatever the fuck you want and
No,
nobody. Oh, you know what I mean? I just hope
yes,
that this doesn't become a Twitter or fucking Facebook one day where
right.
people are being eliminated and deleted accounts.
Yep,
And
yep,
that's where I want to play my cards right, having done
right.
something that I still to this day cannot explain, but yet it's miraculous. So I'm excited about it. I'm
Me
glad that you
too.
actually, even though it's finance, I think it's
Yeah,
perfect because it's so addictive that
yes,
it creates a momentum that eventually
yes,
you can just kind of
of
como yo
course.
también, vas a
Yeah,
tener you're just practicing. You know what I like about your podcast is that for those of you that think that Elba um is shy, she's not shy. She thinks she's shy, but you're not shy enough. So the thing about this anchor, como tú lo puedes manipular, you can go, you can clip it, you can, edit it. So it's like you're behind the scenes, you get to practice. Somebody could
right,
listen to it. So you have exposure. Yeah, it's in the pennies, pero nena,
right,
that's exactly how it works.
right.
Paso a paso,
Rome,
and this is where we
yeah,
we are at. We're at where most people are at in the US, especially after
right.
COVID. And now
Starting from
we don't want to
scratch,
work, right? So of course people don't want to work. We've been overworked. So
right.
um where do
And
we start?
and yeah,
Hard.
and when you seriously think about it, it's like after COVID, so many people have their mindset has changed so much because of, you kind of get codependent on your job, and so many people are shifting and saying, you know what, that job that I had that you laid me off, you kind of did me a favor. It made me go into air, how do you say, it made you go into like a different, like, beast mode, like,
Of
you know
course.
what, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, you
Of
know
course.
and hablando un poquito de todo, I know that you and I were talking, and we're talking about something that we were talking about vision boards too, right?
Yes.
And we were talking about, our visions and things that we've wanted to do. And I remember you talking about a vision that you had about sharing your voice. And
Yes.
so we were talking about that, and we were talking about, excuse me, the Clubhouse. And then I said, you were saying maybe I should open up a room where, I can, people can share their voice. And I thought that that was an amazing, amazing idea for you, because I think,
Yes.
you know, if one day you feel like, what, me levanté, riquilla, and I want, and I want to get,
Yes.
share my voice. And I love it. I'm like, you know what? People around the world are probably like, yeah, let me join this room so that
Right.
I can just say what I feel at the moment, you know?
Right.
And I think that that'll be like an outlet. So, girl, we got to get on that. We got to get on that. Start
Yes.
the room. We got to
Yes.
get on that.
Yes. So, yes, and it's funny, we let's say we're not recording. Now that we've thought about it, we've
Hmm.
talked about it. Again, nothing. It's nothing, and it was an idea. We Next thing you know, we could just jump on it. Like right now, we could say, "Let's
Right.
create it." Hey, what do you guys? My name is Evie, or I'm
Yes.
here. Whatever. We're based out of U.S.
Right.
Florida, and we've got some experiences. We found this app that allowed us to kind of share a voice. Who are you? Are you there? Are you in the room? And I could see us just kind of like
Exactly.
playing with it in a way. Um,
Right.
and in the meantime that we actually do it, because we will do it, we've
Right.
been
And
going into
so,
other rooms, so we're getting familiar with the app, right? And it's cool, it's
right.
fun.
And how it's kind of working, right? How things are working there, and how, different people are joining in, or people are just listening and stuff like that. So, just talk a little bit about your idea about share your voice, right? Talk a little bit more about how it came to, to your mind, and what you want to achieve with that.
Sure. So it came all about because I felt that I had been trying to reach out to my family members, to my coworkers, to friends during COVID, because I had transcended into different planes of existence where I, developed these more of my psychic abilities, telepathic abilities, and I really couldn't explain it. It could be with random people I knew or didn't know. So when I finally heard about it, I feel like I have been, just reaching out to people. Nobody understands me, and this app, all of a sudden, there's people there that they have a club about light workers. There's another club
Right.
about I am love, so
Hmm.
when I logged on, it was I want to say I was in about, I haven't been more than 5 rooms, and I haven't been more
Okay.
than like 2 weeks in this app. And during the
Right.
first literally day and a half, I'm listening, but it really rattled me. The experiences, the voice vibrations, everything, a combination of things, it really triggered me. And I have PTSD. I went through a trauma. My organization actually Baker acted me. So this moment, in that time and space, I felt, wow, they're talking about, one psychologist was about psychosis, another room was talking about traumas, and another room was
Right.
talking about, at work, and another room was like, oh, about, again, the light and mediumship and all this other stuff. So
Right.
I had to raise my voice. Like I had to. I pressed a little hand, and
Right.
I basically, they were talking about, and it had to do the mind and the heart, and you had people that are experts in the healing, but I'm talking about
Right.
more quantifiable, like the Western medicine. If you have
Right.
a healer, and like a doctor.
Right.
um, so you had people like that, like-minded, like that, and they were talking about the heart, and they were talking about the mind, and how in fight or flight situations, you basically, you don't realize it, but the heart can respond quicker, and it has its
Yes.
own brain and some really complication.
Right.
So I just came on, and I was just like, it, because it didn't make sense. I said, listen, one doesn't work without the other. And let me tell you,
Right.
and I talked about my mother being diagnosed with schizophrenia before I was born, and how I thought it was a misdiagnosis. And here I
Right.
was, developing, and all of a sudden guessing shit during COVID. But here I am, relaxed, because I'm not even working. And all of a sudden in this app, I'm sharing this experience. I mean, I'm crying, my voice is trembling, but I had no idea that like three people were like crying on the other end. One had to like literally say, oh my God, and like thank me for it. Another one was like,
Right.
she's a trauma specialist, and she just
Right.
basically said, wow, I know exactly. She's a decoding coach where the
Right.
brain is has to do with the neurons, and she talks about decoding, and I told her I decoded, and it's like encoded my brain, and I had these out of body experiences. I don't know how I'm alive. So she totally
Right.
understood. And the reason, I'm sorry I'm talkative, but
No, you're
imagine
fine.
having to go, thank you. So having to go through all that at
Right.
the capacity that I am, and at the level that I am, and with all the abilities that I know that I possess, and no one understanding me. So it only was like a day and a half, and I was already hooked, and I was already raising my hand, and I was already asking,
Talking.
even, yeah, talking and asking scientists from around the world, and they're, some just kind of brush you off, and some, I'll tell you,
Right.
this is how this came about. So I just felt through our conversation, you and I talk, and we just said, I would like to, at any given moment, now that it is, not that it's a secret, but I think it's a platform that allows
Right.
me to have my voice heard on an international level, and at the
Right.
same time still keep it together, where my own husband won't be afraid if I post a video on Facebook, or you know what I mean? It's like a live thing.
Yes,
I'm
and he
on it,
won't be
I'm off
worried.
on it. Right, I'm not worried.
Right.
It's my voice, who heard me, who
Right.
didn't hear me. Y ya, I'm no
Exactly.
longer with Maria. One thing may have nothing to do with the other, but yeah, one thing had
Yeah.
everything to do with the other. Now it's a matter of creating a space in my reality, so that other people that could be, nena, es que hay una muchacha, mira, se llama Tea. Jesus, she was all like in another room talking about how I told you this, but for the purposes of this recording,
Uh-huh.
she was talking how she really had a demanding job. And in other words, it's like you're told, be
Right.
quiet, be good, follow the law, be don't be an outcast, like,
And they're
be
gonna.
within the norm. And so, go to heaven, don't go to hell, and all this shit, right?
Right.
So
Right.
this lady who's from Africa is giving her this like blunt message on how she needs to like be real with her truth and all this, and
Yeah.
rightfully so, great advices. But I spoke up and I said, look, that doesn't work for corporate America. And let me tell you,
Right.
I can relate. And I had a demanding job, and then you're considered insubordinate, and then you're overlooked at a fucking, and promotion, and then it happened to
Of
me. What's
course.
happening to you happened to me.
Right. And not only that, like when they see that you are, I don't know if I should say combative, but when they see that you speak up for yourself, it's kind of like an issue, right? Because
Of
they're
course,
like,
it's an
oh, we
issue
want,
because
we,
it's a threat. And you're
yeah,
really
it's
putting them in their tippy toes, because like you
exactly
did with the audit, like you're auditing,
right.
you're the person in
Yeah.
finance, and you're supposed to keep the book, and they get at
Yes,
you on an email. Are you seriously, to the point that you feel uncomfortable? No, they are
exactly.
the ones that needed to
Exactly.
feel uncomfortable for not having done the job to begin with. But then
Exactly.
humans get defensive, and then they yeah,
And it
combative, all right.
becomes a whole, and it becomes a whole nother issue. And it's to the point where, when you sit down and you look and you say, wait a minute. So as a person, like, and it made me think about when you were in that room, when we were in that room together, when the lady was like, you're so, like, she was like, you're too hyper. She didn't say
Yeah, in other
hyper,
words, she
she
told
said
me
another
that she just
word.
said that I needed to slow it down, that I had a lot of passion, but in other words, that I
Yes.
had to slow it down. Pero viste, in
Yeah.
another
And it's
words,
like,
she knew that
why?
I was onto something. Why? Because
But
not
why?
everybody
Why do
vibrates
I have
at
to?
this. It was,
It's
you
like,
know what? No, no, no. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
yes, like, why do I have to dim my light because you're not at my level? That's basically what she was saying. Like, she's not at your level, so
Right.
you're
Right.
too bright. You're too bright
Right.
for her.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so, a lot of times, and I've seen this in different areas, um, and I think I've seen this
Yes.
in like, I've heard it in podcasts because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and just like, why do I have to dim my passion? Why do I have to dim my light?
Right.
Because you feel like, I guess, like a threat. You're like a threat to a person
Right.
who feels like, okay, well, let's just take it easy. Let's just, I'm like, why? It's just like when you and I were talking about my job that I'm at now, like, I told them, okay, I'm doing this job. Why can't you give me the title? I'm already doing the job, right? So they
Right.
want to screw me over because I'm already doing the job. So they're like, well, but let
Right.
me tell you something. If I decide to leave tomorrow, none of these mofos know how to do my job,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know?
Especially now
So
working remote. Esta compañía, they have no fucking clue because
exactly.
in a
And I'm
nutshell,
like, I don't know if I have the upper hand on them, or they have the upper hand on me, because I'm doing the job anyway and they're
well,
not paying me or giving me the title. But I've come across to them, and I'm going to assume that this is why they don't want to give me the title, because I told my supervisor, I'm like, listen, what are you and I going to do? What we're going to do about this? I said,
mm-hmm.
what are you going to do about it? He didn't know what to say, and we left it at that because he had another meeting. But
No, mamita,
again,
he's already thought about this. You don't think that he has a budget. You don't think that he
of
has sales
course.
coming. You don't think that he knows who the fuck is the next person upcoming. You don't think that.
Yep.
And it's not like you just started a few months ago. Hello, they
Right.
know you. They know who you are. They know your work.
Yes.
You have actually not stood out to them enough for it. It has nothing to do with standing out. You stand out.
Yes.
It has to do with energy.
Right.
It has to do with, when people say it's all about who you know, it has to do with energy.
Yes.
Who you
Yes.
vibing with, who you resonating with.
Right.
And literally
Right.
everything you do, from what you wear to what you say to the looking at a
Yes.
person, is fucking energy. So
Yes.
you do have the upper hand. You have just manifested whatever you have manifested, but you actually have the upper hand. But we could talk about that. If I wanted to coach you, Elva, on the HR
Yes.
part of it, I could
Right.
coach you on that. But I, I actually think that if we work together on a few months,
Yes.
I could coach you to fuck these people up, and then to could get another job that it's a better paying job.
Yes.
But I don't think
Yeah,
our
for sure.
energy should be on that. The energy
Right.
should be on us to continue to do these podcasts, to continue to be open minded to people that tell me that,
Right.
oh, tone it down or your passion. Because you know what? There's no right or wrong. That's her truth.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you
Right.
this, it sucks, Elba, because there's a lot more people that are rattlers like you and I, meaning that are passionate individuals, meaning
Right.
that we could talk about all kinds of fucking things. And right now, I know the question like fucking 7 minutes ago was about share your voice. So I haven't even
Right.
finished that train of thought. I get that.
Okay. Yes.
But you
Let's
see,
get back to
I
that.
get it. But I get it. That means I'm not
we're
fucking
right, we're
bitch.
all over the place, but it's good because it's just conversation that we're talking about. And the whole
Right.
purpose behind share your voice, the share your voice room in Clubhouse, is because we want to be able to share our voice, talk about our passions, talk about how we feel. And and I'm not taking over your show. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to you
No, you're
you
not.
creating this room. But what I'm saying is, like, I will get in there and say, hey man, you know what, esto y esto sucedió today, this and this happened today, and this happened today. How do you guys feel? How was your
I
day
love
today?
that. I would love that.
And
I would
i
love that.
I think that what you have, that room that you're going to create, is going to be valued so much, because the person's going to be able to say what they want to say. And again, they'll have a picture or they won't have a picture on their thing. This is not something, it's not like Zoom that you have to have your camera on, right?
The beauty
It's
about it, it's
basically,
informal.
it's voice. And when you are in that voice, right, you can say and not feel intimidated by anybody, right? And
And I'm
I
so
think,
comfortable on the phone with my voice. I am ready for it.
yes,
Ready
yes,
for
we
it.
need to create that. We need
So,
to create it quick.
but you know what? Let's talk. I want to go back to this lady because it's important for us as beings. If the light is being reflected, right? Because that's really what it is. People
Hmm.
are our
Right,
mirrors. So she
right,
played a mirror back to me. That means that she perceived it that way. So I have to then put myself in her shoes, Elba. And you and I are the Latinas, therefore our energies are going to be spinning. And te pone un merengue ahora. You could do some rice with some beans that have like 8 or 9 different ingredients. Y estás bailando el merengue, and then the kids, y te corta, and you
exactly.
keep on with the fucking ninja fucking cut. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Y sigue con la sangre. ¿Tú me entiendes?
Yep.
This is probably not an individual like that. She is
Right,
probably a white Caucasian person that has been around nothing but a lot of white Caucasians. And
yes,
maybe, and I'm just playing an example, and maybe
right,
she was the type that grew up in a Christian home. And maybe she was, around wealth, and she went to college and she got a corporate job. And she probably is the one in fucking, I don't know, the beach in California recording that fucking shit and saying kumbaya. And she probably has all the
right,
credentials and more than you and I do combined. I get it. I get it.
right.
But you know what?
Of
And it
course.
sucks because a lot of people that are like blah, like that,
Right,
that's why the kids these days don't need to matter who the fuck you are. They remember they were calling it white people problem. The kids that were like,
right.
"Oh, you got white people problem," and that was like a funny thing, you know what I mean? And now it's like, "I'm dead. I'm dead." Yo, it's a
Exactly.
because it's like lo que ellos y es verdad. Se está
Yes,
muriendo. That energy that vibrates is literally dying, bro. Is dead. And it's like you
yes,
hear vibrations. So that's why I love this app. It's casual, it's informal, it's whatever. You're having a bad day or yet I just logged in there and it had like news about technology and some individuals that
right.
I mean this is shit that they're saying rather than for me, they live in New York City and call like some newspaper magazine saying, look, spread the word. They're getting on a fucking app around the world now. And
Exactly.
it just started. So imagine
I
want to
know.
become
I
super
started,
popular.
right. And I started hearing about Clubhouse, I'm going to say about 2 months ago. And I was like, ¿qué es eso? I'm like, I don't
Oh.
understand. And stuff like that. And then once I got in there and I started seeing just so many gems that people are dropping on here.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God. I'm like, ya, yo voy a cerrar toda la social media. I'm gonna
For
stay
real.
with Clubhouse.
I
But no,
know.
seriously, like there is so much to learn, and people are giving away their information for free.
Yes.
You know,
Because it's collaborative. Están colaborando. That's what the whole point.
yes,
Call it the creator. That means like
right,
so they're just this is a beta test. This is a an app that has been recently kind of created if
right.
you
Yes,
think
it's
about
kind of
it.
like TikTok. Yeah, it's kind of
Well,
like TikTok. It's just recently created. The only thing is that this here with Clubhouse, like you said, you have to be invited because it's limited, right? You can't just get on because you want to get on. Um, but there are so many people giving information that you would normally have to pay for, right?
right.
That
Yeah.
I was in a group and the guy was talking and he was like, let me tell you something. He goes, you want to start your business? You want to spread your business? He goes, you need to start collaborating with people. You need to start
Yeah.
getting mentors. You need to
Yeah.
start looking at, you know, like lawyers and other people and this and that. And he started naming a whole bunch of things. And the thing is that I'm so used to listening to things and that are recorded and pausing it. I'm
Right.
like, Puñeta, I can't pause this. I can't go back and listen to it. I'm like, I gotta hurry up and put it in my brain.
But it actually that's how you retain and learn. Because if you
Yes,
know that you cannot go back, that you cannot, what you do
you
is at any given
retain.
moment, yeah. So if you really know, hey, I'm on the stage, tú vas a estar pendiente, tú vas a estar pendiente. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
there's a topic. Tú vas a ponerle atención, cabrona. And
Atención.
your mind is such a brain that you, with the right intention, you record it, you know?
Right.
We're just
Right.
racing again. You're
Yes.
juggling. Let me remind you, you got a 9 to 5 job, you got the other gig
Right.
on the side, and now you're trying to start the real deal. So it's like, yeah, but everything's energy. So back to share your voice. You know how we talked about everything being energy, and how I had not driven by the one of the places that I had an office, and I drove by, and next thing you know, I literally that day started, like, I saw employees and got phone calls. Loca, ha seguido, by the way, which is funny. But
Uh-huh.
this is another example. If you say you want to do something and you say it in your head, it's one thing. If you say it out loud,
So
is another
it's
thing. And then
nothing.
if you write it
Yes.
down, it's one other thing. So it's almost like you can
Those
patch. It's almost like you're patching what you want. You're patching what you know. It's like you're creating, but you're like, estás como que,
you're
you're building.
affirming it.
Yeah, you're watering the seed. You're watering the seed, and literally that's how it works. So
Yes.
I love the whole podcast deal, because we're talking random. And one day our we're gonna look back and we're gonna say, wow, yeah, perhaps we should, you know, control our tones of voices, and as we're entering the
Or
room, and as it's possible. So I like the
or
idea that
maybe
we're
just speak
recording.
all English instead of Spanglish.
And we're like, wow, well, perhaps, when we're doing certain topics and trying to yield some traffic to the,
Right.
broken, we shouldn't do that. We should. I tell you, when I was
Yes.
being observed at Park Place, which is the asylum that they took me, that
Uh-huh.
they kept telling me that people that were real, that were like, I call them imposters, because they were not real. I tried to
Uh-huh.
talk to them, and they told me, no, 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 don't get too close. So they were there. They were planted there. They were planted there. Y me
Okay.
decían to talk in one language, because I was being observed. There were cameras, and they were pointing at the cameras, and they say, try
Uh-huh.
to talk in one language, because they were trying to observe my behavior. So
You were like, I'm
maybe
sorry, I speak Spanglish. That is one language.
I know, I know, I know. So, back to this lady, I said to myself, let's just wrap. Okay, let me just finish the whole idea with this lady. This lady resonates, vibrates, and she shakes a little bit different. So perhaps
Right.
our passion for her, maybe it's too quickly. Maybe it gets her nervous. Maybe it gets her a little bit anxious. Maybe she's like, yeah, you're passionate, but it's maybe it's she can't kind of catch up. Not necessarily in a bad way, but I have an accent. I do speak quickly with an accent. Therefore, I have to try and put myself in her shoes. So that's just what I wanted to say about that, because you're right. She was basically like, oh, yeah, a lot of
She was
passion,
like,
but just talk.
you're exactly. She was like, you're very passionate. You have like, oh, you're going too fast, and you're like, what are you talking about? This is normal. ¿Cómo que I'm going too fast? ¿Qué es esto?
I know. I'm like trying to get on my shit in like a 30-second elevator speech here. Come on. Pero
Exactly.
oye,
Like, girlfriend, this is norm. This is the norm. Obviously, no eres hispana. No eres
exactamente.
latina.
Exactamente. Look, and what about the other lady? Pero did you notice Martha? There was a lady right after, and she almost like not interrupt, but she really made it a point to say, "Hey, thank you for sharing." I don't know if you noticed
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yes.
it
Yes.
was
Yes.
almost like she was very adamant, like, because it's almost like I felt like she, like esta señora me estaba
She
diciendo,
understood.
tone it down. Yeah, like
She understood exactly what you
somebody,
were.
right, right.
Yeah.
Because you see people that are super like, tú tienes la que son calladita, and then when they talk, it's like very paused, and
Yeah.
nena, y si te iba a
O
corporate, and
las mariposas que se hacen.
que se hacen. For real, and then they have all their shit in their head, but reality is that they pretend that they're slow, but they're not,
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
anyways, that was interesting about that.
Right.
And then
But
to
then,
share your room, um, remember how I said, "Hey, I want to do this," and you said, "What do you think?" And you should. Next thing you know, Catriana, that lady, pings me on Clubhouse and says, "Would you like to start a room together?"
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you see
Wow.
how energy, and you and I talked about it. The
Yes.
universe conspires to get you what you want.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
tell you can't think about it too much, Elva.
Right. You have to
The
act
podcast
too.
we're doing,
And that's my
yes,
problem. That's my problem. I again, I'm a treasury analyst, so I analyze too much. And when you analyze too much, you paralyze yourself. And so I have to change my mindset and remember that not to analyze and just jump in, right? Do that leap
right.
without thinking about it. You know how you go
Yes.
to the pool and you feel the water is freaking cold, so instead of you
Yes.
going in little by little, you throw yourself in there all the way, and you're like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna throw myself all the way in there because si no, no me voy a meter,"
Right,
right?
right.
And that's exactly what I started to do this week, and that's what I've been doing.
Good for you.
For the past couple of weeks, I've been doing here and there a little bit of both, and working and not thinking so much about it, and not analyzing and not over analyzing, because I have to change that mindset. And that's where I struggle. And so I started kind of doing my own affirmations, like, I'm not going to overanalyze, I'm going to work it, I'm going to do it, I'm going
Right.
to take action, I'm going to take action, because I said to myself, I started looking at my vision board, and I'm looking at my vision board now in my office, and I'm like, Elba, like, you have it all over the place. You need to organize it. But in the meantime, I'm trying to set my eyes on one thing at a time, right? When I'm looking at it. And for me, at the beginning of the year, my whole purpose was growth. For some reason, I got that, I prayed about it and I said, God, give me a word that I need to focus on. And that was my word, growth. And
Wow.
so that's what I'm focusing on now, is trying to grow I this podcast, right? Because this is something that I felt in my heart that I needed to do.
I
Um
remember you said that, yes.
yes. And so doing that and growing, as much as I can, and knowing that, Rome was not built in a day. It's
Right.
just like, that finance class that I took today. We were talking about, the debt and things like that. And I'm like, I did an unrealistic goal. And so when I was looking at the date, and when the date came and went by, I was like, Coño, Elba, you didn't reach your goal. Pero claro, nena, you put yourself in a size 2 shoes when you're a size 6.5. I'm like Cinderella, la hermana de Cinderella.
Pero
The stepsister that she tried to put on Cinderella's shoe, and it didn't fit her because she was a size 9. You know what
oh
I'm
my
saying?
God.
So,
Pero the thing is que a menos que tú no te lo ponga, like that's how you learn, right?
right,
Unless you put
right.
it on, that's how you learn.
Exactly. So I need to remember that not to do unrealistic things, right?
Okay.
But to keep working at it, right? Because what I realized is that even though I had this amount of debt, when I looked over the whole year, right? Because my goal was to get everything done in a year, which is impossible, right? But well, it could be possible if there was if there was like 5 streams of income. But
We'll
when
get there.
when yeah, but when I'm looking at it, right, I started looking. I said, wait a minute, but I did chop down on my debt. Right. So I should celebrate what I did do and not what I didn't do. Right. You never want to focus on what you haven't done, because all that's going to do is kind of mess with your mind and mess with what you're trying to reach. Porque siempre el
Right.
enemigo siempre quiere atacar where he knows that he can mess with you,
Right.
right?
right,
So
right,
yeah.
right.
But
Now, do you
again,
feel you've grown with this whole podcast? It's been
do
a
I
few
feel?
months now that you have
Yeah.
grown.
So I have. And what I've noticed is that I've taken action. I went on a hiatus, right, in the month of May. And so June, I started to get back on track. And now I'm working on being consistent. So those those goals are working as I speak, right? And so that's the whole purpose of me
Okay.
getting everything together, you know? But
So yeah, that's great. Can we talk about that? That's cool. So, you know why I like to talk about that? Because it helps me understand
mhm,
exactly where you're at. And again, no one man is an island. And therefore, I
exactly.
want to be able to work with people. You're good in the finances, Elba. The more that we have been talking lately, the more that I'm interested in your expertise. So please know that the fact that you are analytical and that you think with the left part of your brain is gonna come, um
Yes,
it's gonna pay it off later on as well. It's just that right
right,
now you've already developed a program, that you function in it's como you're working transactional. It's like
right.
it's a transaction, you get up and it's a transactional. So your life these days are transactionals. So it's like it's a
Right,
transaction. It's like same shit another day, another dollar, So but that's
exactly.
what limited income is, and that's what. So
Right,
what we're trying to do is we're trying to move that energy to try and think outside of the box, because whatever we have done have not worked, at least in the finance aspect, because 30
exactly.
years 30 years con todo lo que tú sabes del dinero, más
Yes,
inteligente tú que nadie, ya te hubieras retirado, tú sabes. But
exactly.
again, you are a product of the environment, and therefore you're
Yes,
only selling your time. So we've all, back again, if we look at humans as an animal species, we've just been controlled and manipulated. That's all. But now
exactly.
that we know what we know, that the planet is at a different fucking vibrational, frequency, and so are we through things like Clubhouse, through things like Anchor, are thinking outside of the box, putting it in
Yes,
in our voices. We're recording ourselves, we're listening to other people's recordings, we're backflipping it, rewinding it. It's this
yes,
is a beautiful thing. This is millionaire in the making. We
of course.
can make it happen. We will if we do the work, and to be honest, it's a terminology. It's a terminology
Definitely.
because en vez de decir tengo un problema, tengo un problema, tengo un problema, you're gonna have a
Right.
problem. If you that's my problem. Pero nena, cámbiala.
But
You know what?
hay que pensarlo. Not, I'm not trying to say be analytical, right? You have to
You do have to
think
think
that
about
it's
it.
gonna happen. You
Right.
you have to think that it's gonna happen. You have to kind of, put your mindset, you know what? This share your voice room is gonna be the hot topic.
It
This,
will.
podcast, Broken Journey, the podcast, is gonna be a hot topic, and that's where some of the things that I will tell you that I learned through Mary Kay, because when you like, you can't, like, the product of your past, you can't do anything about it, right? What your parents didn't know, they didn't know, right? And so that's another thing, that's a whole nother episode that you and
Oh
I
God, that's
can get
another
create and
episode.
talk about, because I
Yep,
think we had that in the previous podcast that didn't record, right? But
Nina. And
you
if I
know
could get a quantum physicist to join the conversation, we would then
yes,
tell you that you can change your past.
yes,
I have
of
changed it. But
course.
anyway, that's another topic.
Yeah,
Has
exactly.
to do
And
with
so
timelines and your thought process. Y después la gente, por eso que la gente, they change their mind. No, no, that's not how it happened. That's not how it happened.
yes,
That's not what happened. Yeah, and it's because they've already
exactly.
changed their fucking timeline. They changed their reality and what they believe. So they've changed
Yes,
the past, the present, how they change. Okay, dale,
exactly. And it
continue. We
changed.
get behind.
Claro. Claro, and it changes, like I said, you can't change what happened in the past. You can't change how you were raised, because, again, like for me, my parents didn't know any better. My parents were 16 years old when they had me. So, you know, they, they didn't know really much about finances. They didn't know about this. They didn't know about that. So you kind of have to learn little by little. And I'm working on changing my kids for their future and my grandson. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that when
Right.
he gets older, you know, he will be able to have what we didn't have, but also know how to handle it, know
Right.
how to multiply it, right? Because
Right.
when you have um when you have money, you want it to continue to grow, continue to be for generations to come, right?
Right.
and
Right.
and so a lot of the times, it's kind of hard when you're like, right now I'm breaking my ass to be able to learn these finances, to be able to know that, you know what, this is the way you get out of debt. And don't get your ass into debt. Like I tell my kids, don't get into credit cards. I know you need to use a credit card for whatever your damn credit score in order for you to get a house or whatever the case may be. But you know what, if you're gonna use a credit card, be responsible with it, right?
Right.
Use
Right.
one credit card, pay it off, and then get back, and make sure it's on a zero balance, right? And of course,
Right.
there's always emergencies that come up, and if you need to use it for an emergency, then it is what it is. Pero, tú no quieres, you gotta try to break those generational cycles. And that's what I was trying to get to through all that, toda la mierda que yo hablé ahora fue que because we need to break generational cycles, right?
Oh, that's what
We
you
need
meant. Yeah.
that, so,
No,
for real,
no,
like
no.
we need, and that's another topic we'll talk about together, because I
Yeah,
know that
that's true.
in that conversation we were talking about breaking generational cycles and breaking, you know, some of those cycles that are not healthy at all for any of
Right.
us, right? And everybody carries with baggages. Everybody. There's nobody in this world that can say that they do not carry with baggages. Everybody does. And it's a
Yeah.
matter of whether it's a good bag, so you carry that thing along, or if it's a bad bag, leave that shit behind, right?
Right.
Leave it
Right. Right.
behind. Leave it behind. So I
Oh
think that
yeah.
sharing, I think that your room that you're going to create, share your voice, is definitely going to be something that's going to be powerful. Because like I said, you see how we go on these little tangents and
Right.
start talking about a whole bunch of different things. I think people sharing their voice is going to be able to like free the person from some of the, I guess, the different things that they have on their shoulders, right?
Right.
Because sometimes we carry so many things on our shoulders where, it's like, coño, ya esto pesa. It's too heavy. It's time to
Right.
let it go, you know?
Right.
And I
Oye,
think that,
Elba.
dime.
Ay, dale, continue, continue, continue.
No, I was going to say that I think that that room is going to be a good, you know, clubhouse room for that purpose of just saying, you know what? I just got to let this out. Today I don't feel like this. And maybe we
Right.
can give encouragement. Different people that are in the room can give encouragement to that person who is not feeling okay at the moment, right?
So
Or
when should we
celebrate
start a
them.
room? We could just jump on whenever the fuck we want. When should we
Yeah,
like create a room? When do you want to do that?
yeah, we can do it tomorrow, today, I don't know, whenever you want.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
we could.
do you want to play around with it? Okay, I want to spend some time where we're interacting. You know how we were in a room interacting? I love
Yes,
that because it
yes,
was like one person can see me in one way, but yet another person can see me in another way. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
so for a minute I told her, I was like, oh yeah, I needed to hear that. I appreciate you, because
right.
maybe I was talking too fast. but I was like, oops, no, me volví loca. So to you, we can pick up on our conversations. So I kind of would like to jump in some rooms. Like I know we have a few more minutes on the recording on this, but you know
Right.
what I would love? I would love in the future. I have this vision of our vision boards. We need to like kind of redo it on their
Yes,
own. But in the
We need to
future,
do that.
create like a vision boards like this where we merge. Is it a Clubhouse vision board or not so much? Maybe it's like an Elba and Evie kind of a vision board. I don't know, but I kind of want to create something in our
Yes,
thoughts. That way, eventually, we can utilize. I don't have to because for a moment I wanted to do a podcast because I was so loving what you were doing, but then I was like,
right.
fuck, my girl just started. Why the fuck am I gonna start? Let her fucking start. That her shit. Like I could go into her fucking
We
show.
could do, we could do it simultaneously.
And then I thought about that and I was like, nah, I'm too competitive. Then I'm gonna want to mind my shit. And I'm like, no, pero espérate. And then I was like, nah, Ivy, what are you thinking? But in a way that I found this Clubhouse, a mí me encanta hablar. So I could just jump on and jump off, or we could do it that it's more scheduled. Now, if I get one of these contracts, I'm gonna have to
Right,
obviously, which I look forward to it because now instead of viewing it like 9 to 5, I'm gonna see it as more like fuck that I actually need to pay bills and it's going to provide some
right.
structure. So
It's
they're
gonna
going to
help
ask
you
me
in
to
the
do something.
meantime. Always
Yes, it's going to
remember
help
that.
me.
Yes,
Yes, perfect. So it's going to help me out. And then continue to do this Clubhouse to really figure out artistically where, because I mean, I still got canvases, I still got the poetry, I still got like the
yes,
psychic mediumship ability. And I feel like I haven't tapped into 1% of any of it. So it's like, I need to do something with myself. Like I'm too scattered, too blind, and I need your skills to come in and give me the structure. So I think tonight has actually helped me with that. And I like that
awesome.
because we're still talking on the Clubhouse. Y para ti, nena, yo me veo como en este lugar que people that they, catfish, right? La gente esa que they're
Right.
not who they, yo me imagino no, en serio,
Yeah.
females or males or anything or anybody que they want to get on, they're going to say, look, I'm going to recommend you to this Clubhouse. Go, Evie has a Clubhouse, share your voice.
Right.
And you could go from there. And I see us putting stories in the podcast where they could still be, don't have to,
Of
because
course.
there's still people being condemned for what they fucking believe. And they
Yes.
feel enslaved in their own minds. They feel enslaved maybe in their marriage.
Yes.
They feel in their job. So it's like,
Yes.
it's a great way to have an outlet, but at the same time, you know, damn, I'm already feeling better. Yeah, this is good.
Yes,
This is
it's
good. This
true
is
though.
good.
But it's true. And that's why I'm saying, like, that share your voice room is going to be powerful because the person can say what they need to say, and we can be there as whoever is in that room can be there to encourage them if they need to encourage them. If that person, or be there just to listen,
Right,
you know.
right,
I think that
right.
it's definitely going to be something that's going to be powerful. And I definitely agree. I think that we need to get it started, maybe tomorrow. I know I have a
Yeah.
few things in my day job, but we'll get it together. We'll work on it.
Or
And
Monday. Yeah, or Monday we can, no importa,
right.
pero I got excited. I think we're ready to do it.
Yes,
Maybe between now and then we should try and use the Clubhouse, get more familiar with the app,
of
maybe try
course.
share like, what rooms you're in so that, because I think I follow you, but I don't I get a notification if you're talking. But if you're not talking,
Oh,
I
yeah,
log
no.
into the see if you are online. And if I log into the app and it says you're online, then it says you were in a room. But I didn't
Okay.
do that like all day today. So for a minute, you were there like, I don't know, a few hours ago. And I was like, oh shit, I missed her. When the fuck
I
did she log in? You know what I mean? Like,
know.
I'm like, I
Yes,
found her. But
yes,
if
yes.
you talk,
I
it'll
know.
pin
I
me that
think
you're talking.
I'll share the room. I forgot which one it was. I know I went into two different rooms. One of them was millionaire mindset, I think it was, and then the other one was talking about social media, talking about podcasting, talking about the algorithm on
Oh, those are
how
interesting.
to how to trick the algorithm so that it can keep you on top. There's so many crazy things when it comes to the algorithm.
See, that's
So
good
many
stuff.
things.
But you are
Yeah.
learning. going to help us with the podcast and
Yes,
the overall nonprofit. Nina, you're
yes.
gonna be the what do you call that? Chief financial officer. I know you're gonna retire soon, pero pa carajo, Nina, you're gonna work for me because I'm not planning to retire. Yo no estoy pelada. Yo no tengo nada. Ay, me quitaron todo. Nina.
That's funny. But you know what? When you work for yourself and your passion is there, then that's different. When it comes,
Right,
I'm looking forward to retiring from freaking corporate America, girl. If
right,
I
right.
can work, if I can work and do something that I love to do, right?
You're
And
gonna
if
do it
it's
for
like,
others.
let's say it's this podcast, I'm working on this podcast. If I'm taking 5 hours of my day to create five podcasts, for the next weeks, let me tell you something. I don't think that is going to be work for me, right?
Right,
I think it's going to be
right.
fun. It's going to be
It
fun
is. It
versus
is.
working 40 hours a week, having to deal with customer service and this lady dándole, por poco le da un chancletazo el marido. She was the
Ay,
Spanish
Dios.
Karen.
Oh my God.
Nena, it was
That's
crazy.
hilarious.
That when I was listening to that conversation, I was like, "Oh my god!" I said, "This
Very.
lady, I think that I swear, I think that que ella le mete chancletazo." Because I'm
No,
like,
no, I
"What?"
can't imagine. Imagine that was with you on the phone. Imagine when there's nobody on the ever watching.
Exactly,
She's probably one
exactly.
of those
She was like,
who
girlfriend, she was going ham. She was like, "Let me take this phone and let me tell you what happened." I was like, "All right, girl,
so
it's
funny.
gonna
What
be
the
all right.
fuck
It's gonna be okay." I'm like, "It's gonna be okay, girl. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna give you your refund."
Oh, you're too funny.
Ay, Dios.
Is it
Pero nada. Yep, it's still recording. We're still recording, yeah. And so, but anyway, I know it's getting late, and I want to thank you so much for joining me here today and us talking about Clubhouse and the amazing things that is going to be happening soon for both of us. It's going to be
yes,
so much fun.
it is
So
fun
much fun.
already. I can't
Yes.
wait.
Me
So share
either,
whatever
girl.
rooms you've got. I mean, maybe
I
not if you're
will.
just listening, but I'm thinking rooms that we can interact or something. I'm thinking smaller rooms that if you raise your hand, that way we can get familiar in the next few days. See, no, but no big deal. I think we should just like plan for a day. That way we could have some time to like no
Yes,
interruptions and shit. You can
of
moderate
course.
while I have my back. Porque si hay alguien que piss me off, you're gonna have to shut them, put them back in the audience. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I know. Yeah, we definitely have to get familiar with that because I know in one of the rooms that I was in, as a matter of fact, the one that we're talking about the algorithm, one girl got kicked out and another girl got on and she was like, "Well, let me tell you something, blah, 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 blah." And da-da-da. And then somebody jumped in. They were like, "Okay, um, just to let you know that Clubhouse is having issue where it's kicking people out. It doesn't necessarily mean that a certain person reported her and kicked her out." And she
Oh,
was like, "I
interesting.
got kicked out of two rooms because I guess there was too many people. There were too many
Ah,
people. So what happened was I got kicked out and then I went back in and then it was okay. But the actual moderator got kicked out. The person that started the
oh,
damn room got
that
kicked out of her
happened.
own room. So so the guy came and he says, "Okay, okay, I need you to relax." He told her, he says, "So and so, I don't remember the lady's name. Let's say her name is Mary. Mary got kicked out of her own room." He goes, "Clubhouse is having some technical issues." He goes, "And this is not the only room. And I
Right.
see that person is back in here." He goes, "So let's focus on what this subject is on this room and not fighting with anybody because that's not what we're here for. We're here to educate each other."
That's very professional.
Básicamente la mandó a callar. He was like, "Shut the
Okay.
fuck up."
That's awesome. What a beautiful way of saying
Yeah.
have a
He was basically telling her like, "Cállate ya, cállate."
wow. And that the thing is
So,
that is true. That's what I said. It's a beta
yeah.
application. It's in the testing phases. I mean, they just have. of for you to send a message. They didn't have that this
Yeah.
whole time for like a year.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm
So
very excited. I might just
me too.
see who's talking about who in that before I go to sleep. Pero
Okay.
nada, I
Yes.
will definitely. Hablamos mañana anyway. Para cualquier
Yes.
cosa, stay in touch, and then
Sounds
we'll do
good.
something more formal for Monday.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, Evie, for joining me today. And
You're
I will
welcome.
talk to you mañana.
Yay! Take care.
Okay, bye bye.